focusing rather on how do you improve the targeting, right, and boost the conversions from your email sequences. So it's obviously going to be a continuation of what we spoke about earlier. So Christy McCarley is going to be covering how to send engaging emails at the right time and boost conversions with improved targeting. So Christy is the founder of Pure Firefly, a full-service email marketing agency for small businesses and nonprofits. Based in Atlanta, Pure Firefly is a MailChimp Pro partner agency in one and is one of the top 5% of the certified experts agencies in the world. In 2022, Christy was invited to become a member of the Customer Advisory Board at MailChimp, and she's recognized as the top 1% industry professional by Upwork. Welcome on board, Christy. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Excited to be here.
Splendid. All right. So I am going to hand it over to you. The floor is all yours. Let's, go through your deck here.
Okay. I am new at this, so I'm going to just figuring out how to present here.
You should see a present button at the bottom of the footer.
I do. It says Google Slides. I thought I would,
Yep.
can I present directly from my screen or I have to add the Google Slides?
Absolutely.
Sorry about this. I was thinking I could share the screen.
If not, I think we could do it. Let me quickly check it.
Yeah, I don't, sorry about this. I have it up on my screen. I thought I could just share the screen.
No worries. So I think my team is just
Maybe,
pulling. Yep, we are pulling it up for
um,
you. Don't worry. There you go.
okay.
Perfect. So
Okay,
it's,
great.
it's all yours now.
Okay, great. Thanks. All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Christy McCarley from Pure Firefly. We're a full service email marketing agency based in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm going to talk to you today about how to improve targeting and boost conversions in your email sequences. There are over 340 billion emails sent every day worldwide, which is a staggering number. It just increases every single year. And because of that, is obviously a lot of competition for our attention, for your subscribers' attention. I'm going to the next slide. There we go. On average, we receive 100 to 120 emails per day. That's a combination of business emails and personal emails, but that's a lot of emails to receive, a lot for us to digest. Obviously, a lot of those go unopened. And our challenge is to figure out how we can make our own emails stand out. Next slide. There we go. 45% of all emails were spam in 2021. So that means that almost half of the emails that we get are not legit. That also means that we, in general, subscribers, all of us who read emails every day, are suspicious and use a lot of discretion about which emails we open. All of that works against us as marketers because we have an even bigger challenge of making sure that our subscribers know who we are, that they trust us, that they have a relationship with us, and that they want to open our emails. So this is our challenge. Billions of emails are sent every single day. Half of them are spam, not legit. How will we make our email stand out in this sea of competition? This is where we start. What is the pain point of your audience? What problem are they trying to solve, and how will what you offer help them solve it? That may be a service, that may be a product. You may be you may have a nonprofit organization, but everyone should be able to identify what is the pain point of your audience and how what you offer will help them solve it. Knowing the answer to those two questions will go a long way in developing that relationship with your subscribers. Why should they open your emails? Will your email make a difference in their lives? And which feelings will inspire them to take action? Think about all of these questions. If there is anything on this list that you can't answer, I would say you should still start if you can answer 3 of the 5, but your goal should be to answer all 5. The more that you can answer these questions, the more likely it is that you will be able to understand your subscriber. You will be able to communicate your product, your service, or your nonprofit and the benefit it will have for the subscriber, and you'll have a much higher likelihood of conversion. So here are 4 focus areas that I recommend to boost conversion: content, design, frequency and timing, and segmentation. We'll go through content first. When you're considering what content to include in your email, the first thing you should think about is, what is the purpose? What is the goal of that email? This goes for every single email. Is the goal to increase donations? Is the goal to sell a product? Is the goal to book an appointment? What is the goal? Is the goal to educate the subscriber about your product or your service or your nonprofit? Figure out what the goal is first, and then everything else in the design and the content, the timing, the frequency, all of that should be built around what is the purpose of your email. Second thing is design. Is the design of your email easy to read and understand? Do the colors, is there enough contrast with your colors? Do the buttons stand out? Are they easy to find? Is there a focus in your email, or does it seem very scattered? Layout is also important. Does it feel long to read? Length is number 4 on this list. Does it feel heavy? Does it feel like it's going to take 10 minutes to read your email? What's the size of your email? That's another thing to consider. Your images is really important. No one likes to sit and wait for an email to load for 2 or 3 minutes. So all of these things are factors that will impact conversion in the long run. If your design is not easy to read, then they will not read the rest of your emails, or they may unsubscribe. If it takes too long to load, again, may unsubscribe or won't read your email, won't share your email. You can't convey your message if the experience in reading your email is not a good experience. So here's some recommendations in content. Make sure to include at least 1 call to action per email. The flip side of that is you don't want to include too many calls to action. So once you decide what the goal of your email is, make sure that your call to actions are focused and in line and relevant to the content that's in the email. There is a such thing as analysis paralysis. So if you include too many links, you may not get any clicks. The other thing is to remember that it's all about them. It's all about the subscriber. Describe what you can do for them. What services are you providing, or what products do you offer that will help solve their problem? And remember that time is of the essence. Most people skim an email within 5 seconds, maybe 7 seconds. They decide whether they're going to read the rest of your email. So you have to take advantage of that time. You need to make sure that your email is clear, that the call to actions are clear. Use large headings and subheadings for really important information so that it stands out. Again, if the experience is not a good experience, then your subscriber is not likely to stay around. We're going to talk a little bit about design do's and don'ts. One of the biggest problems I see with a lot of our client emails is issues with color. Either the design will have too much color, so a lot of bright links, a lot of bright headings, a lot of bright images, and which makes it very difficult to focus, or they don't have enough color. So the entire email looks gray, or the entire email has black text, black header, black images. There is a case to be made for a very clear, clean, black and white email, but you want your links, your call to actions, your buttons to stand out. Those are the actions that you want your subscriber to take. So they should not be lost in the email. If I don't read an email, I should be able to read through the email, and quickly my eyes should be drawn to the call to actions. Even if I don't read it, I should be able to find exactly what action you want me to take so that I can take that action, which is what we want. You also want to have a good mix of images and text. You want to check your emails on multiple devices to make sure they render properly on mobile and desktop, and make sure you have enough white space so that the text does not appear to be too crowded. You don't want to use blurry images that can't be seen, or images that are too far away. Low quality images will turn off subscribers. Don't use too many links or too many buttons, and make sure the font size, I say at least 15 pixels. I personally use 16 pixels. Remember that the easier it is to read, the more likely it is that they will digest your content and take an action, which is what we need in order to boost conversions. Also, don't remember to check in on mobile. Emails render differently on mobile devices. They render differently on iPhones versus Androids versus tablets. So be sure to check mobile devices to see how your email looks. This is just an example I pulled out. I'm sure we all remember websites like this from back in the day, and maybe still today, but you don't want your email to look too crowded. You don't want color to be too bright. You want to make sure that the headlines are very clear and that the links are also clear, but that the colors aren't competing with each other. So when someone opens your email, they should be instantly attracted to the calls to action and the headings, and not feel overwhelmed or confused about where to start. Frequency and timing. So one of the considerations when you're building an email sequence, or even if you're sending a regular email campaign, you want to think about how many days do you send between emails. One of the biggest concerns that I hear from a lot of clients is sending too many emails over too short a period of time. This is something that should be tested. There's no perfect answer to this. I typically, in a welcome series or a promotional campaign, I will typically recommend starting with 1 to 2 days between each email. That's not a hard and fast rule. It really should be tested. So when you send that first campaign, or you set up that first email sequence, test it, see how people are responding to it. Maybe if it's a daily campaign, maybe you wait 30 days, maybe you wait 2 months. Look at your data and see, are people unsubscribing? Are they clicking more? Are they clicking less? Then you can start to tweak the days between the emails and see if that improves your performance. Timing is also important. What time of day or what days of the week? Some days are better than others, but it really depends on the audience. And then the automation, which emails should be automated, which types of emails can be added to an email sequence. So I recommend 1 to 2 days to start. If you're starting, you've never built an automation, this is your first time building a sequence, I say start with 1 to 2 days, just so you have a place that isn't overwhelming for the subscriber initially. You can look at some data, and then you can maybe move it to 2 or 3 days between emails and see how that works. If you find that you have better performance between 1 and 2 days, you can always move it back. Tuesday through Thursdays are usually, on average, better days for open rates and engagement. But if you have a weekend sale, or if you have a brick and mortar store, Friday through Sunday or Friday through Monday may be better days for your audience. You may see better performance on those days. Again, these are things that you have to test. Automations, purchase behavior are perfect for automations. Previous clients, new customers, new donors, new volunteers at a nonprofit, all of those new to your list or new status, those are all perfect for automations. Email engagement is also perfect to build an email sequence. So if someone clicks on a particular campaign, then you can use that as a trigger to start another campaign. And then personal events like birthdays or anniversaries are also examples of triggers. Okay, let's talk about segmentation. Segmentation basically means that you're going to divide your list into categories. So as in this example, you take a slice of a list, and that slice has some kind of common characteristic, and it's called a segment. And in email marketing, when you use those common characteristics or those segments to target your subscribers, you will on average see much higher likelihood of conversions than if you did no segmentation at all. So here are the steps when you're building an email sequence. First, you want to send an email, that first email. And that email can be sent to a new subscriber. It could be a welcome email to someone who just joined your list. It could be a new donor. It could be a new participant or new member. Maybe you have a club and someone just joined your club. It could be an anniversary, as I mentioned before, but we start with sending some email based on some event. After that first email, there is a time delay. That time delay could be 1 day. It could be 7 days. If you want to send an email, there are some clients that I work with that offer 10-week courses, and there's one email sent over 10 weeks. So within that course, they send chapter 1 and week 1, chapter 2 and week 2. So that time delay really needs to be relevant to the content that you're going to be sending. And to some extent, you need to also consider your audience and what time delay will be appropriate for your audience. Once you get past that time delay, then you use the condition to identify segments. In the case of a course, then you would simply continue sending to those who have signed up for the course, but you may also want to resend to those who hadn't opened the previous email, or you may want to send a different email to those who had missed the first 2 emails. After you identify the segments, then you send another email that's relevant to that segment. And then you just repeat this process as needed. So if you have 10 weeks of a course, then you repeat this process 10 times. There we go. Okay. So in this example, I am showing a shoe sale campaign. And this is basically where a shoe sale email went out with shoes for sale. And we're going to look at some of the results that came from this email and then talk about some of the actions that we could take based on segmentation. In this example, there is on the left a percentage in the blue of subscribers who never opened the email. They got the email, they just never opened it. On the top right in the orange, there is a segment that clicked and actually made a purchase. So they bought a pair of shoes. They got the email, they saw something they liked, they clicked and they made a purchase. In the yellow is a segment that clicked the link, but they didn't purchase. And then in the green, they opened the emails, but they didn't click. So let's talk about some actions that you could build within the sequence to improve conversions or follow up after a conversion. Let's see. There we go. So in the first segment, we have on the top left, a segment of subscribers that never opened the email. One of the most common ways to follow up with these subscribers and to increase engagement and increase conversion is to resend this email to non-openers. There are so many reasons, as I talked about earlier. We get hundreds of emails per day sometimes, definitely hundreds of emails per week. Many of us don't see the email because it got buried. So by resending it, we are floating that email back to the top of a list where perhaps a subscriber who's interested in converting can now see your email. If they don't see your email, then they certainly can't convert. So we want to make it as easy as possible for all the subscribers to see that email. Let's go to the next one. So in the green segment, these are subscribers that opened the email but didn't click. So opening the email is a good indication that they are interested in your brand or your service or your product, but they didn't click, meaning maybe they are interested in the shoes, maybe they're not interested in the shoes. It's hard to tell, but they at least have some interest in your brand because they opened your email. So by following up and sending that segment another email with new shoe images, you're kind of testing the waters. You're following up to a segment who you already know has shown some interest to see if maybe a change in content will nudge them towards conversion. The other thing is that if you send an email with different content, maybe they were distracted before. Maybe they intended to make the purchase and just didn't get around to it, or maybe the phone rang. So by sending a follow-up email with the new shoe images, it gives you another chance to convert that subscriber. Thank you email. These are not necessarily immediately conversion boosters, but it is another way to nurture your relationship with the subscriber. So for those that actually did click the link and make a purchase, by sending a thank you email, you are showing that you care about the subscriber, you care about their experience. Maybe in that thank you email, you send a survey or some other way for them to let you know if they have any questions or any concerns. Just another way to continue to nurture that relationship and establish that trust with your client and brand awareness with your client so that they will think about you next time when they want to buy a pair of shoes. And then last, the segment that clicked but didn't purchase. Sending a follow-up email with more time-sensitive, sense of urgency kinds of language. Countdown timers are very popular and effective. So really try to encourage the subscriber to say, hey, we have this thing that looks like you are interested in, but you have a really limited window to make this purchase. Otherwise, you're going to miss out. Those are very effective messaging to these types of subscribers. And if they click a link, then that is showing that they have some interest, even a stronger interest than those who open. So just to recap, resending to non-openers, those who didn't open, sending a different email to those that opened but didn't click, same theme, but just different content. Thank you email to those who did click and purchase. And then finally, sending a reminder email, follow-up email about the sale that it's ending soon, maybe even an additional offer if that works for your business, but something to urge that consumer to go ahead and make the purchase. So segmentation is key. That's the point of this section that I'm talking about. Higher engagement, you get higher engagement, you get less spam complaints. When people get the content that they want and that solves a problem for them, they're way less likely to unsubscribe, way less likely to complain about spam, and you get higher engagements. It was so nice. I said it twice. I talk to a lot of clients that talk about email blasts, meaning that they're sending an email to everyone on their list. When you first start, that is a big temptation, and it's understandable because as a new email marketer, you may not have segmentation ready. It may be something that's going to take you a while to get more information about or more data on, but should be a goal. It is much more, you have much more higher chances of conversion when you're using segmentation versus sending to everyone on your list. In this example, we're sending the shoe sale information to everyone with feet. And that's just meant to be kind of a joke, meaning basically you're sending the email on shoes to everyone, whether they're interested in shoes or not. So if you have a department store and you sell many different products, it is in your best interest to identify which products those subscribers are interested in and then send content based on those interests versus sending to everyone on the list. So another way to identify those who are interested in that product is to watch their click behavior. If you're just starting out and maybe your first few emails are sent to everyone on the list, but you put multiple products in that email, then you can see which links they're clicking on and use that as your basis for segmentation. So if you're just starting out, These are some steps to get you going. Determine who's on your list. These are steps that will probably take some time. You may not know the profile of your audience right away, but these are things that you should be considering over time and learning more about your audience. What are their likes? What are their dislikes? What types of products are they interested in? What types of services? Are they interested in respond more to case studies? Do they respond more to articles? Those are all pieces of information that will help you build a profile of your audience and then increase the chances of conversion. You also want to look at behavior patterns. So if there are particular images that your audience responds to, if there's a size of image that they respond to, all of those things are important pieces of data that you can use in building your campaigns. If you don't have any segmentation data, a great way to start getting data is to use surveys. You can send a survey link with 3 or 4 questions, maybe 5 questions, maybe a 30-second survey. In general, subscribers don't like to spend a lot of time on surveys. So if you say, fill out this 30-second survey, you're much more likely to get a response than if it's a survey with 20 questions. Engagement is another way, as I mentioned. So if you have click behavior or data on images that are clicked, links that are clicked, that kind of information can help you with segmentation. And then also A/B testing, and that's where you run random tests to test 2 different subject lines or 2 different pieces of content to see if one converts better over the other. Personalization is another term that we use a lot in email marketing, and it basically means speaking directly to the subscriber, which increases the chance that you'll grab their attention and increase the chances that they will convert. You can use personalization in subject lines. I'm sure you've seen, or we've all seen, where our name is in a subject line. So, hello, Christy. Welcome to the Email Edge Summit would be an example of that. Location we could also personalize based on location. So if there's a conference in 4 or 5 different cities, you may send different emails based on the location. Content is another way to personalize. So if you know that there's specific content that is of interest to your subscriber, you could send content based on that. Purchase behavior or behavior we just talked about is another way, and email engagement. So personalization basically means that you're trying to use segmentation and other factors to speak to the subscriber in the language that they want to be spoken to. You want to deliver content about things that they're interested in. You understand their pain points. You understand what they want to learn about or what is of interest to them, and you're sending that to them directly. This is an example of not using personalization well, not using segmentation. The person on the left is interested in coffee, and then the person on the right is talking about tools. So the person on the left is not going to be very happy with the content that's coming their way, and the person on the right is not going to be very happy about the content coming their way. They're much more likely to unsubscribe. Subject lines are also very important because that's like the first impression. So that's what we see. That's how we make a decision about whether we want to open the email or not. And so those subject lines are very influential in the conversion process. Try using names. Names can be effective, not effective for everyone. Not every audience responds to them. Test it. Try it with your audience and see. If you have first name, example, hey, John, what's your take on AI? Using a first name can sometimes influence whether a subscriber opens the email, especially if it's from a brand that they are already have a relationship with. Make sure that the subject line is relevant. So use subject lines that are relevant to your brand. They should have words that give the subscribers some idea of what the content is about. Keep it brief, 5 to 7 words. If your subject line is too long, then it can get truncated on a mobile device, which means that the subscriber never gets to see the other half. Maybe that other half has some really important information that would have enticed them to open the email. So try to keep the subject brief and make sure that the important words are kind of front loaded at the beginning of the subject line. That way that will increase the chances that they open your email and therefore increase your chances of conversion. So in conclusion, higher conversions, we need to use segmentation, keep the content relevant, great subject lines, and personalization. And now it's time for Q&A.
All right, perfect. Thank you, Christy. That was pretty jam-packed session. While the team checks out for the session, I mean for the questions rather, I did, as I was going through and going through the do's and don'ts, the deck side, right? I did notice, something very interesting. And maybe it's just a contribution from our end, which is, also test for dark mode, right? Because everyone right now, switches their
Yes.
phone to dark mode, right?
Yeah.
So the colors got to be inverted right, you got to present everything properly, and we've seen marketers making the mistakes. So that's why we kind of build out a dark mode checker. So go ahead, check it out, it's on the chat. You guys can go ahead, upload your template, check it. If it works, you know where you can make the tweaks. But from your experience, you've been an email marketing expert till now, you've been working with MailChimp also for a long time. uh, how does a small young company try to understand in terms of what data to really capture, right? I mean, there's a abundance of data around the customer, right, or around the persona. So if we were to pick, maybe let's say an e-commerce industry, right, what would be the top 5 data points that a founder or an entrepreneur would want to start collecting?
I would, and it depends on the store, what they're selling, but I would want to know what type of product that they're interested in. I'm thinking that most of the clients that we work with have several variations of their product, or sell some 2 or 3 different products. If you sell one product, then this may not work. But I would want to understand like what types of products are they interested in. I would also want to know, just from this is tricky, but I want to know more about the audience itself, something about their habits, because their habits can also inform your marketing. I have heard from another presenter that dogs are very popular with certain audiences. So if you have a nonprofit and you have images of people with dogs, if it's a dog nonprofit or children's, and people respond to pets depending on what the industry is about. So if you know something about your audience and what they respond to, maybe not specifically e-commerce related, but just in general, I think that can help you too as a marketer.
All right, perfect. Thank you so much. I think we've got that sorted out. I don't think there are any questions right now. So thank you so much, Christy, for your time. It was wonderful talking to you, right? Where's the best place people can reach out to you and maybe connect with you?
purefirefly.com. Our website, there's an email address, contact us at purefirefly.com, and there's a contact form as well. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out. Thank you so much for having me.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Christy. Lovely talking to you. Have a great day ahead. Yeah.